This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
CBD is a game changer sweeping the nation. This hemp extract is the natural way to elevate your mood, eliminate aches and pains, reduce anxiety, and keep you sleeping all night long. It can even cut your workout recovery time in half. Get in the game today with 20% off all orders of CBD and lavender products from Lavender Lane, a lavender farm located right here in Milan, Michigan. Just go to lavenderlanemi.com today and enter coupon code DETROIT for 20% off your entire order. Guys, look, these amazing products are infused with calming lavender to maximize their effectiveness, meaning your CBD items only take minutes to take effect, which is way quicker than those pills you were about to swallow. On top of it, they are perfect for men and women. Lavender Lane has lab-tested CBD creams, tinctures, and roll-ons that are perfect for any situation, even if you're on the go. Put your health back in your hands by heading over to lavenderlanemi.com and entering coupon code DETROIT for 20% off your entire order of CBD and lavender products. What do you have to lose? Your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. So if you need lavender gifts for your loved ones or just looking for the natural way to ease your discomfort with CBD, go to lavenderlanemi.com and use coupon code DETROIT to unlock these miraculous benefits of CBD and lavender. That's lavenderlanemi.com. And remember, use coupon code DETROIT for 20% off your CBD and lavender products from Michigan's own Lavender Lane.
I was trying to get it how I live. I want them dead presidents. I want to pull up, head spin, get fly. I got 6 jobs, I don't get it. Said grind harder, learn from every time you ever fail. If it never failed, just grind smarter.
Welcome in to this edition of Two Bad Hombres. I'm the Doc, John Maakaron. I'll be recording this podcast by myself on the screen in the office here in Sterling Heights. I'm watching Ohio State at the end of the third quarter lead 42-19. Garrett Wilson made a huge epic mistake in muffing the football, but again, Michigan was unable to capitalize. Jim Harbaugh decided to kick the field goal. Michigan fans, where you at? You're about to get your ass kicked. And look, throughout the week, I observed the coverage. I saw what people discussed in terms of previewing this game. And for the most part, it was fair. Most Michigan fans who were rational did not believe that Michigan would indeed go out there and win the game. But I think what could frustrate Michigan fans is the fact that you're not competitive versus Ohio State. You started the game off very well, scoring and handling your business, making things tough. But then as Ohio State, gets their first offensive possession, they're down 6-0. They march down the field and score a touchdown, and they were off to the races. I think most Michigan fans are going to be highly upset and very critical with Don Brown. His defense in big games just fails to deliver time in and time out, and his time is done. It's quite obvious that Don Brown no longer deserves to be the defensive coordinator of the Michigan Wolverines. Simple. It's not being a hater. It's not being a troll. It's just when you look at it time in and time out, when it's a big game, an opportunity to make some key plays and to do some things, Don Brown's defense fails to deliver. And Michigan in that first half did not play clean. They had opportunities a couple times in the red zone, settled for field goals. They made mistakes, stupid penalties that they took. And in key moments when they had an opportunity to get the ball back, it just did not go their way. And look, Michigan's offense for a time looked competitive. They looked like they could move the football against Ohio State. But, watching the coverage leading up until this game, the first thing that I'm going to laugh at is Desmond Howard. Everybody picks Ohio State and Desmond Howard picks Michigan. And I still get tweets from people that say, oh, what's he supposed to do? You can use words in the English language to describe and give credit where credit's due. Ryan Day and Ohio State just simply have better talent. They have better players. I mean, Justin Fields leaves the game with an apparent knee injury. He comes back and throws a touchdown pass. Okay? That indicates, talent at a level that's just way different than the Michigan Wolverines. And you can't knock Shea Patterson. He's a quarterback that has certain limitations. Is he good enough to get you 8-9 wins? Yeah. Is he good enough to beat bad teams like Michigan State? Of course. In the big moments when you need him to step it up and play out of his mind, can he do it? Oh, hell no. It's just not going to happen. So for those of you that are mad, okay, because I posted a question on our Twitter page at Detroit Podcast, and my question was, are you even mad? How can you be mad if you're a Michigan fan? Do you not take in any media that opposes what you think? I mean, look, the Detroit Sports Podcast, we try to keep it fair. I mean, yeah, we do a little bit of trolling and a little bit of joking around with this Michigan State rivalry, but we try to keep it fair. I mean, Adam, Strozinski, and myself, we will tell it like it is in terms of what we're observing just based on common sense. Common sense dictated that Ohio State was going to beat you. So throughout the week, I did see some talk, well, what would it mean if Michigan won the game? And does that mean that Michigan had a good season? What does it entail? There were still people that called up radio stations and said that Michigan was going to win. I just laughed at that because I think the first premise and the first reply that anyone would have was if Michigan would defeat Ohio State. I mean, look, I air a podcast from someone that I respect mightily, but his first sentence in the latest edition of the Michigan podcast was, "This is the year Michigan is going to defeat Ohio State." Came out of the mouth of a host here that we air a podcast on. And I listened to it, and he gave good reasons and things like that. Coming into the game, Michigan was playing a lot better. Their offense was playing better and things like that. But you guys got to remember, the level of competition that you are playing is not that good. Own up to it. The Big Ten blows. Beating Michigan State doesn't mean jack. Michigan State is nowhere near on the radar. They're back to being irrelevant, and it kills me to say that. But I'm watching this game, and you guys saw that it was going to take a miracle for Michigan to go out there and compete even with Ohio State. That's how good Ryan Day was. Remember, yeah, it's his first time as a head coach, but he's been through this before. Under Urban Meyer, he was the offensive coordinator, and just last year rolled up on Michigan and, dropped the bomb on them and scored a bunch of points. At the end of the day, Michigan and Jim Harbaugh is too loyal to Don Brown. And the change is going to be made. You know it's coming. That defense is nowhere near good enough to compete at a national level. And it just now took midway through the season for the offense to kind of kick into gear. Josh Gaddis took a lot of heat for what was happening early on because of, the adage of, speed and space and how that offense looked in, early games this year. People were wondering, like, what the hell's going on? Against Army, they didn't look that good. Early games, the Wolverines did not look that solid on offense. And so, as the season progressed after Penn State, the offense got better. Good for Michigan. You took advantage of the garbage that was in the Big Ten. You defeat Michigan State. You defeat Notre Dame. But we're talking here about Ohio State. We're talking about a nationally relevant program. That's not you. You're not anywhere near that. And I hate to tell you guys that, but Michigan is nowhere near nationally relevant. And for all you media members out there, including Desmond Howard, I find it hilarious that you still would put your name and go out there and predict that Michigan would win this game. What gave you that clue? What factors led you, Desmond Howard, to believe that Michigan was better than Ohio State on this day? Come on. If you listened to Adam and myself an hour before the game, we were joking and laughing. Adam said it. He was at the gym. He knew. Adam is rational. When you look at it, it's not that, we're hating on Michigan or that we're trolling. It's just that, look at Ohio State. Do you not give them any credit for having a great offense, a great running game, a defense with Chase Young? Come on. Chase Young is being coveted, and we want him here in Detroit for the Lions. We're talking about, on si.com/NFL/Lions, we're talking about losing out. Lose the last month to give yourself any opportunity to draft Chase Young. We're not going out there trying to draft any Wolverines. Get out of here. So this contest just wasn't close, and once Ohio State got it rolling, they took apart Michigan's defense. It's pretty simple. They had matchups that favored them, and they took advantage of it. It wasn't difficult for them to execute. There's certain matchups that just favored Ohio State, and they went out and handled their business. So if you're mad, I don't understand why. Are you just frustrated because now you are nowhere near the class of a Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State? You're not there. And unfortunately, now the discussion that I want to have with you guys that are listening to this, what do you make of Jim Harbaugh, because it's a really interesting dynamic. And here's why. Here's why a coach like Jim Harbaugh right now at Michigan puts them in the worst spot. It's tough because Harbaugh is a decent head coach. He will run a clean program. He has players that improve. He has above average talent. But that's not the expectation at Michigan. And I think there's a certain section now that realize, okay, we are not anywhere near that level of competition. We're not nationally relevant. Can we be relevant in the Big Ten with Jim Harbaugh? And here's the problem. Ryan Day's just getting started. He's going to put and instill his program and bring in elite talent nationally. So it's going to be unbelievably tough for Michigan to be consistently relevant in this Big Ten with Ryan Day there. I mean, unless he takes an opportunity elsewhere, then maybe Michigan can kind of rise up. But right now, you guys firmly take a backseat to Ohio State, and it's a fascinating dichotomy. It's fascinating to look at in regards to what's going on in terms of Jim Harbaugh. Look, he's a good coach. He'll get you 9-2, maybe a couple times get you 10 wins. But is that good enough? That's the question I got to ask you guys. Is Jim Harbaugh good enough where he just will play second fiddle to Ohio State? I don't see Jim Harbaugh revolutionizing the game. You don't just get that much better as a coach. Now, the one area maybe you say to yourself is, okay, we stay the course on offense. We continue to look for that quarterback that can be a game changer, but we radically now change that defense and try to make it a little bit more elite. I think you can do that. I think if you go out there and get a nationally relevant defensive coordinator, maybe someone from the NFL or somebody that's young and dynamic that has the opportunity to come in and change it up, I think that's probably the next step for Michigan. The next step for Michigan is to find the next hot young defensive coordinator and to take that shot to compete with Ohio State. Because right now, it is unbelievable, the caliber of talent that Ohio State features. I mean, look, Fields goes out, after he gets rolled up on his knee. The backup is able to come right in, and they just hand the ball off, and he earns some first downs, and Fields returns. And you didn't get a sense that the momentum was going to change. Probably that mistake, that Garrett Wilson made by muffing the punt was epically terrible, but the game was out of hand already. The game was already out of hand and was lost at that point. And the rest is just academic. So I think for Michigan to take the next step, maybe look to build that defense and maybe look to try and upgrade at certain positions. Probably, obviously, defensive coordinator and quarterback. I think if you can get better play, then you might have that opportunity. But I'm sorry, Michigan fan, when you sit down and you recap this season, I just think it's a failure. Because, whenever you're entering into a season now, 5 years for Jim Harbaugh, the goal has to be to compete against your biggest competitor, and Michigan's biggest competitor is Ohio State. So to not look competitive, to not play well is super tough. And, look at that, a touchdown, last play. Hassan Haskins rushed to the right for a 2-yard touchdown. Ooh, as I'm recording this, does it get closer? So let's see. Right now, as I'm recording this, it's now 42-25 with about 14 minutes left. So that puts us at what? 17 points down entering the fourth quarter. Ooh, do you get some charity touchdowns here? Do you make it closer than what the score indicated? Look, will I have to scrap this whole episode if Michigan comes back? No, I'll air it and I'll take the egg all over my face. But again, looking at how this game shook out, I just think that Don Brown, again, fails to deliver. And it's one of those situations where you just wish that some adjustments would be made. Just look at it like this. You just played that first half, right? And you come out in the second half, and what happens? 2 plays, Ohio State just marches down the field. What does that indicate? I think there would have been an opportunity to set the tone, to try and limit Ohio State, maybe not allow them to score that quickly, but it just didn't happen. It was a tough situation all the way around. I mean, guys, I'm speechless, okay? As you watch the game progress, just in game, I can't believe this. I don't even know. Look, guys, remember, I'm a Michigan State grad, so this for me is great because I knew it was coming, predicted it, said it, recorded it, but in a game, even I can get mad, okay? you guys, as a Michigan fan base, you see you got some momentum. The muff punt, you score a touchdown. You bring it within 15. On 4th down, you call a wildcat? Anybody and their mom could have seen that. I cannot believe Michigan just ran that. I told Adam at 11. We recorded, and I think we're going to do a lot more of it, a live video where I dialed up Adam when he was at the gym. And I said to him, look, in big games, Michigan reverts to making these unbelievably terrible calls. You're down 15 at the start of the 4th quarter, and that's the call you run on 4th down. In these big moments, it's unbelievable how short Michigan comes up. I cannot believe they called that. I am tweeting it out now. I can't believe Michigan called that on 4th down. It's unbelievable. Michigan, and what I think happens is you're trying so hard to outsmart your opponent that sometimes you just forget the basics, and that's what happens. It's just, for Michigan fans, like I said, I can't be mad. I can't even rile it up to say, I can't even sit here and say, oh my God, I'm even that terribly surprised they ran that. In big games, look, guys, unfortunately, it is what it is. Nothing new. And see, that's the part about sports that sometimes maybe people fail to take into account is the past. And there's a large body of history here that in big moments, Jim Harbaugh fails to deliver. It just is a situation in which until he does indeed beat Ohio State, until he does have that real signature win against a marquee opponent, then you just assume that Michigan's going to take its rightful place in the back of the line behind Ohio State. Now, it's not a bad thing, okay, because Urban Meyer gets all the credit for building what he built, and Ryan Day now is a continuation of that story. So you don't begrudge Ohio State. Look, they're doing what they're doing. They rolled up into the big house and took care of business. Michigan now, on the other hand, has to take a serious look at the coaching staff, and they got to take a look at in-game, in big moments, they have to make adjustments. So for Michigan and their supporters, I'm getting a vast array of responses. Some people are mad. Some people are indeed upset that Michigan is taking another pounding against Ohio State. On the other hand, there are some rational Michigan fans out there that are declaring, yeah, this is a game we knew was going to be tough, and we didn't really believe. And I respect you for saying that. I respect you for going out there publicly because, look, anytime you send a tweet to Detroit Podcast, it could get retweeted to the masses, and a lot of people will see it and interact with it. So I respect you guys for being humble, open, and honest. And so it's a situation in which Michigan just met a juggernaut. And give Ohio State credit. I mean, you can be mad at the same time and give Ohio State credit. It's a team that's just unbelievably talented, well coached, and it's a mindset too. It's just they come in ready to go, and they didn't. And you can obviously tell that this game is super important to everyone involved with the Ohio State program. They came to deliver, and they just have a plethora of talent that can go out on the field week in and week out and execute. You know, are they nationally? Potentially a national title contender? I'm not sure just yet how they would stack up against the big dogs if they do indeed make the top four, which by all accounts it will look like that they will. The Buckeyes have a great team, man, and it's as a Spartan supporter, I'm jealous. I sit here and I go, man, we were close. We were on the precipice. We were able to defeat them a couple times, but by and large, Ohio State has the last laugh. And unfortunately for Michigan fans, I feel for you. I feel for you guys because you desperately want to be there. You desperately want to believe. And they did it in your house. They came to your house and said, here we are. Take it or leave it. This is what the future looks like. And, you guys are stuck in the past. So for Michigan, it's going to be interesting to see how they regroup and what do they need. Throughout the week, we'll hear, we didn't execute and credit to Ohio State and things like that. But again, for Michigan, another game against the biggest rival, they come up short and they don't play well. That defense is so surprising, play calls, and it's just, you sit here and you're watching and you just don't understand why. Maybe even down 15, you might have had some momentum, you might have kicked it back to them or maybe called something different. I'm not certain. Oh man, as I'm recording this, stopping and starting, the game is dragging on forever. End this game already. It's still like 7 minutes left in the 4th quarter. I'm trying to spit out as many words as I can. I think the question now is what's next for Michigan? Someone gets in on Twitter, U of M SATX on Twitter. they play Florida to the disappointment of everyone. Yeah, I mean, Dobbins runs 33 yards for the touchdown as I'm recording it. 55. They've just dropped 55 on Michigan's defense. It continues. This game is never going to end. Sheesh, my goodness. Ooh, I just saw the replay of the rushing touchdown from Dobbins. Man, that's serious business right there. Serious business. Michigan fans, it's just not going to get better. And as I was watching, I was getting reports of some loud Buckeye cheers all the way around, man. Buckeye fans are enjoying themselves, loving life. And now we got to turn our attention these last few minutes here on the podcast. And again, guys, I thank you so much for following. I would be remiss. The Detroit Sports Podcast, in this time of year, Thanksgiving, you got to be grateful. I had this idea to do a podcast with my cousin, and everyone's heard the story. I said, look, cuz I think we can talk sports and be dedicated and just drop a show every week, and let's see what happens. And as the project built, here we are now, and all of you who message, I'm grateful so much that you guys support us and you like us. And I got a message earlier today where someone said, hey, I like your account. And it's an account where you're a homer, but with a head and a heart. And that's what it is. We're fans of Detroit sports. We're not going anywhere. Adam and myself, we love Detroit, and we love Detroit sports. We don't don New York hats. We don't rep other squads. Yeah, it's a tough time here in Detroit, and definitely if you're now a Michigan fan, it's tough knowing that Ohio State will sit on the mountaintop and not you. But, you guys have supported this project, and in big games, it makes it so fun to hit the Twitter machine up. And I absolutely love you guys for the support you give. Hundreds of you will reach out and message. Of course, there's some that'll just block me right away because of the sheer number of comments I'll make during a game, but I understand. So, like I said, I'm so grateful that I can turn on a microphone and let it rip, go on Twitter and interact with you guys. And look, we did Adam and I did our first Twitter live video together, and someone joined in. It was really cool. Oh, man. Here's some more reaction to, some people are messaging and referencing the bowl game, Appalachian State versus Michigan Cotton Bowl. Oh, man. It's just, all right. Here we go. Got the first one in. Hire Urban Meyer. Ooh, Urban Meyer. You guys, look, I had said that on a podcast, and it's been echoed by the likes of Jeff Rieger and others in the media that I don't know how serious I should take that. Would Michigan ever accept Urban Meyer? Would he come here? I just don't think so, because the level of hatred that he must have for Michigan, how could he then turn around and come here and coach against Ryan Day? I mean, you'd have to almost question his loyalty and things like that. Look, would he be a great hire? Absolutely. He would come here and, but you risk the thing that I don't think the majority of fans want, which is they don't want a program to be sullied by someone who might be willing to do some things. Because remember, this is an individual that wins, but along the way, he blazes a trail full of controversy. But for me, look, maybe, just maybe, Urban Meyer wants to come to Michigan State. No, I can't. I can't let Urban Meyer go to Michigan. I just can't sit here. Now, I just tweeted out, why not Michigan State? I think that, for Michigan State to rile it up and get things back on track, you got to kind of get in the mud and play a little bit. Play the game, Michigan State. Mark D'Antonio, thank you. You brought us this far. Now go out there and look. You're already in the mud. I mean, everybody already thinks you're doing something shady across the board in every facet. I mean, every 2 weeks there's some investigation regarding some shit that you're not doing properly. So just go all the way with it. Bring Urban Meyer to Michigan State, and then he can attack Michigan from both sides of the rivalry, from Ohio State and from Michigan State. I think we are not here, Spartan supporters, to allow Urban Meyer to go on and coach the University of Michigan. Oh, hell no. But getting back to it, I'm getting a lot of these messages, man. I'm surprised, you guys. You guys are really interested in Urban Meyer coming to the University of Michigan and taking over for Jim Harbaugh. Look, guys, in all seriousness, Jim's done a good job, but the real question is just based on expectations. This man was brought in, is heavily paid, is considered amongst the elite. and you haven't gotten elite results. But if you do, I respect those that say, look, if you do let him go, you're probably going to take a step backwards. Nobody's going to just come in right away for the first season or two and have 8, 9, 10 wins, especially now with what's going on in the Big Ten and nationally. So this is the toughest part for Michigan fans, is that you keep Harbaugh and you kind of know what you got. There is no probably brighter ceiling for the foreseeable future. Now, if you want to wait a decade, you want to wait another 5 years, maybe Ryan Day gets that dream opportunity in the NFL and he takes the big money. But then who's to say the next guy? If the drop-off is slim from Urban Meyer to Ryan Day, probably the next guy, who are they going to get? They'll probably get the hottest coach. They'll probably get Lincoln Riley. They'll probably get the next best thing, and then it'll just keep rolling. Michigan right now is at the precipice of a decision as to what they need to do. The first step is obviously going to be, fix that defense. And then another year under Gaddis, you'll see if this can be an offense that can keep you guys relevant. But by and large, for Michigan fans, it's a disappointing day. Ohio State's offense came in and they purred like a kitten. They were all over the field, led by J.K. Dobbins, and he's serious and he handles a workload. For Lions fans, Kerryon Johnson, when you give him that kind of workload, all of a sudden he gets injured. So this guy, J.K. Dobbins, is legit the truth. And Justin Fields, what a find. What a lucky situation for Ryan Day. He's just like, boom, I'm going to pluck someone. I'm going to get my guy. And I think that's one of the things in the areas that Michigan fan kind of is jealous, is that you guys plucked a guy and his name was Shea Patterson, and he's good, but Fields trumps Patterson, no doubt about it. So Jim Harbaugh has to go out there and find his guy. He's got to go out there and find a quarterback that kind of has it. The guy that in the big games, not just against Michigan State and against Iowa and Indiana and Illinois, Rutgers, bunch of free garbage wins that are on everyone's schedule, against the likes of Ohio State, against Wisconsin, against Penn State. You handle your business and you show up. You don't have bad decisions. You don't have, again, it's so typical. Shea cannot turn the ball over. You can't fumble the football, Shea. Not in that position. At that spot in the game, that was the worst time to have a turnover at that spot in the game. And it just, in those big moments, it's just more of the same. And that's how I will probably end this podcast, is just saying that Michigan in the big moments just will come up short for the foreseeable future. And right now, it's Ohio State's yard. They rule the roost. They're the big dogs. They're going to go on to Indy, handle their business, and probably will find themselves in the college football playoff. Thank you guys for tuning in to the latest edition of Two Bad Hombres. Vito couldn't join me today. He's out there hustling, and I'm proud of him for the work that he's doing and helping with the podcast and with SI Lions Maven, and he's a great addition. But today I was alone, but I got to enjoy watching Michigan from the office, watching Michigan get their ass kicked from the best team in the Big Ten, unfortunately. And look, I'm a Sparty, so even though you hear a little bit of happiness in my voice, it's just trying to mask the hurt that I feel being a Spartan supporter this year, and where Mark D'Antonio took it and crashed it down to earth. So Michigan State football, back of the line, partners. You ain't in the big dog. You ain't in the big fight. You ain't in the club. You're outside waiting. And until you figure out a way to get yourselves relevant, that's where you'll stay. That's what it'll be. Michigan spanked by Ohio State. Two Bad Hombres. Find it Saturdays, Detroit Sports Podcast Network.